Good evening, sports fans. Welcome to the Sports Hounds. Another Monday night, another edition of Sports Hounds special. 1 hour edition of the Sports Hounds tonight, discussing the state of baseball. As always, we're brought to you by Dr. Paul Vidal. He's our doc. Make him yours too. Specialized physical therapy, 3 convenient locations. Visit specializedphysicaltherapy.com for more details. Also brought to you by Ambuck Services, the porch and gutter experts of South Jersey. Ambuck Services, as we get into these post-corona summer months, get those gutters cleaned out, get those porches looked at. ambuckservices.com. Tell them A2D Radio sent you. It'll be worth your time. As always, we are streaming live on Facebook, Periscope, Instagram, YouTube. You miss anything on any of the shows here on the A2D platform, download us. Listen to us in podcast form, Spreaker, Spotify, Google Play, iTunes, iHeartRadio. The takeover is real. A2D Radio is everywhere. We don't use any notes. Join the debate. We're the fastest growing media company in the country. We've doubled in size over the coronavirus. Followers, likes, subscriptions. I don't know any media company in the country that can make that statement other than right here at A2D Radio. Brad Ryer's in the house. Of course, I'm Rob Brinkman. Frank Vesby is backstage keeping the train on the tracks as he does every Monday. We're talking about the state of baseball right now tonight, Brad. A special 1 hour edition tonight. No guests. Hopefully we'll have Billy Ray Smith, former Chargers linebacker, in the coming weeks. He had to cancel due to a family emergency. We certainly hope everything's okay there. But Billy Ray Smith is going to be joining the Hounds in the coming weeks. But
father, and he, by the way, if you're wondering, he is the son of the Billy Ray Smith who used to play for the Colts in Super Bowl III and in Super Bowl V. And his father was a legendary player, and he wasn't too bad himself. I believe he made the Pro Bowl.
Yep, he was a second-team All-Pro at the height of his career. He was the 5th pick in the 1983 draft. He was a 2-time All-American at the University of Arkansas down there in the SEC. If you've
26 sacks, 15 interceptions in a 10-year. How long did he play? Like 12 years?
I believe like 92. I don't have my sheet in front of me.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly. But yeah, he was a heck of a player. He played with
Junior Seau.
Yep. Well, he only got 1 year with Junior Seau, but I mean, he got to be there with that machine that San Diego had as an offense. Unfortunately, the problem with San Diego was that other than him and Vincey Glenn, who was an outstanding cornerback, they really didn't have much defensively.
Well, we'll talk about that in the coming weeks.
Yeah, those two were by far the 2 best players on the team, and but he was a hell of a player. And I'll tell you what, they did have a good team. They had 1 year where they got to they lost to. I think he was on the team when they lost to Miami in the championship game with Marino when he was there.
Yeah, we'll ask about that stuff.
Yeah.
But tonight, Brad, it's all about baseball. It's kind of our common ground. I'm a basketball guy. You're a hockey guy. We kind of you're Giants. I'm Eagles. Baseball is kind of like our common ground. Our love for the sport is undeniable. We're passionate baseball fans.
Yeah, I don't have any issues with the Phillies.
I don't have any issues with the Yankees either.
Right. We don't play them, and we both hate the Mets.
No Mets, no Red Sox for me. I have no problem.
Right. Yeah.
Derek Jeter fan.
Yep.
The only logical reason to hate the Yankees is because they won all the time. If you don't like them winning all the time, go ahead and beat them. So,
I mean,
always my philosophy on the Yankees. Obviously, they played in 09, and it didn't turn out well in the Phillies' favor, but.
Yeah, but they won in 08, though.
What can you do?
Yeah. I mean, you won the year before.
We don't need dynasties here in Philadelphia, Brad. We don't need dynasty. We like to dangle that carrot. We like to stay hungry. We don't need 26 world championships, 27 world champions.
Well, listen, you
won every once in a while, to fill the stomach up. Stay hungry.
Exactly.
But
yeah, we may have a chance with the Flyers. That's for sure.
We have. That's the most. I mean, Sixers basketball is one thing, but I know I'm always say I'm a basketball guy over hockey, but I'm really looking forward to these hockey playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Flyers definitely have a shot. They're a real good. The only thing that could stop them is their relative lack of playoff experience, especially the defense and the goaltending. But they have enough veteran leadership that I think they could. I think that they could get through it.
Yeah, that or this fucking virus, which I hate and I can't stand.
Yeah, I know.
It seems like the first reaction anytime anyone tests positive now that the country's somewhat reopened is let's shut it back down.
I know. I know.
It's ridiculous. Let's get to our poll question, Brad. You see my hat here. Our poll question brought to you by Philly Drinkers. Get all your A2D merchandise. It's a big collection. Philly Drinkers, they do a great job. PhillyDrinkers.com. Go to the A2D collection. Browse the stuff. Put it in your cart. Give them your money. We get you some nice, cool A2D merchandise. But Brad, do you think baseball is still one of the 4 most popular sports? Agree or disagree? Obviously, basketball, hockey, football, and baseball have been the 4 kind of crown jewels of sports for a long
time. It used to be baseball, football, basketball, and then way down from that was hockey.
Right.
Hockey's very regional. Hockey's still 4th by a mile because it's regional. You know, I mean, it's getting more popular, and you know, if the United States puts out a better product as far as in the Olympics and starts having really good teams, you're going to see a little bit more popularity. But as long as they're just going to keep getting clobbered in the Olympics all the time and in every international competition, it's going to be just barely above soccer. I mean, that's the problem. So, you know,
all right. So to the poll question,
baseball is going to sink to 3rd if they don't get a season in this year.
You think only the 3rd? You don't think they have any chance of being overtaken by some of these niche sports that are emerging? NASCAR, a sport that I know I get ripped on for liking, but been very progressive through these racial tensions and coronavirus. Golf put on a very successful tournament over the weekend. UFC is just killing it right now. There's a lot of sports for people to spend their time, money, and resources on. And if baseball's not going to play, I agree to the poll that baseball is no longer going to be one of the top 4 considered a major sport.
I'll tell you what, right now, as it stands, I think they're number 3 right now. To be honest with you, I think football is probably number 1. I think basketball right now is number 2, and I think baseball is number 3. And baseball and basketball are nip and tuck, but if they don't have a season, it's going to be number 3, and they better watch themselves because you know what? Most people are going to watch, even if they play baseball. It's my belief that most people in the summer are going to be watching the hockey playoffs and the basketball playoffs and tell baseball to stick it up their collective butts. And the ratings are going to be better for those sports.
Because baseball has been in a unique situation for a lot of years that, you know, being in the summer, you have no competition.
That just them.
After June, when both the hockey and basketball finals wrap up, it's all baseball all the time until really, I mean, I don't really get as excited for training camp as I used to, but the first preseason game's cool, but really till September, post Labor Day, when the NFL gets going.
I agree, and that's the problem now is that you're going to have playoffs for hockey and basketball, okay? And you're going to have a lot of people angry with baseball. And to be quite honest with you, as a Ranger fan, I'm really excited to see them in the playoffs. They missed the playoffs the last 2 years. They got a real exciting young team. I can't wait to watch them. And I don't give, you know what, if the Yankees come on and it's a 50-game season, I don't really give a shit. Talk to me in the playoffs. You know, I can't even go to your damn games when I spent all this money to get tickets to go. And then you're fighting with the players. Screw you. I'm gonna watch the Rangers, you know? I'm sure in Philly it's gonna be the same way. Everybody is gonna be, you know, the Flyers are the team to watch right now. And you know, hockey in Philadelphia is pretty exciting. To be honest,
they get behind their squad, the Flyers Nation.
Yes, they do. I'll tell you what.
They're great fans, and they'll stick with that team until the end. And I'm excited for the Sixers too. I know I get on the Sixers a lot, but they're still my NBA team. Like
but the only problem with the Sixers is that they've been so bad on the road and so good at home. They're not going to have that home court advantage.
It's a
And
great point, Brad.
that's the problem.
I mean, the only thing with the Sixers is like Ben Simmons is healthy, so we'll see what that. He had the best before
that'll
Corona.
help. That'll help. But the problem is they take their game to another level at home, and they don't seem to be able to get to that level on the road. And that's a problem, especially when there's no fans in there. I mean, home court has always been very valuable, but let's be honest, in basketball, other than the fans being on your side, there's no real advantage to playing at home, other than home court advantage. If you're used to playing in that building and the fans are rooting for you, so and you're used to the depth perception. But I mean, other than it, it's not like. Hockey is a little different because if you have home ice advantage, you get to put your sticks down second for the face-off. You get to dictate what lines are on the ice. You always get your matchup. I mean, that's a big difference whether you're home or on the road. That is an advantage. It's just like baseball. It's an advantage to have home field advantage because after the seventh inning, when you start getting late into games, the home team always has the last at bat. So, after every half inning, the home team has 2 at bats and you have 1 once you get past the 7th inning. So then it becomes you only like I'll give you an example. Once you get past the top of the 8th inning, okay? If it's a tie game, the home team has 6 outs and you only have 3.
Yes. All right, let's get to some comments before we.
That's how they manage too. That's how managers manage too. They realize that, and even Bobby Valentine used to always say that, how huge home field is for baseball because of that reason.
All right, let's get to some comments here, and then we're gonna crush the owners, we're gonna crush the players, we're gonna crush the commissioner, we're gonna crush it. We're crushing everybody in terms of baseball.
Nobody's safe tonight.
It's embarrassing. It's
these guys are a disgrace.
I'm beyond being angry about it. Like, that's when it's bad. I'm a passionate guy. I wear my emotions on the sleeve. I'm a very black or white person. I struggle with the gray area. So when an apathetic Rob comes on and just kind of throws my hands up, whatever. That's when there's a problem. It's exactly. There's a real problem with you and your girlfriend when you stop fighting. If you're fighting, at least there's passion there and there's hope that you're going to work out. But if you stop fighting, that's when it's cooked. And that's where I'm at with baseball right now. I'm exhausted being worked up about it, to be honest with you. It's pathetic. It's embarrassing. There's absolutely no reason. These what I thought were smart people in Manfred and Tony Clark and the MLB owners, whoever's representing them at the negotiating table, can't get together and agree on something to get a half a season in here.
Well, the owners are the ones that are blowing up the season. Let's get that.
They aren't blameless, though. I agree with you, but the players are not blameless.
No, they're not.
But, and the commissioner is doing the worst job of anyone. And
I've been telling you what an awful commissioner he is, and what a moron he is. And he's just proving it now.
I mean, I tried to give him the benefit of the doubt with the Astros and the Red Sox. I tried to give him the benefit of the doubt on a bunch of different things, but I mean, I can't do it anymore with the guy. I don't understand how you can be.
He needs.
This clown is sitting outside having a barbecue while his house is burning down.
I mean, the guy that they should make commissioner is Joe Torre. He's already the disciplinarian of the league. He's the one that should be the commissioner. I guarantee you, if he was the commissioner, this wouldn't be going on.
You're probably right.
I mean,
he managed a lot of talent.
He also knows how to deal with people. He knew anybody that could deal with the New York media for as long as he did and be as successful as he was. There's a reason. There's a reason for that. And dealing with all the multitudes of stars that the Yankees used to have, and to be how do you get Darryl Strawberry and Tim Raines to willingly accept being bench players, even if it's the end of their careers?
Yeah, big egos.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's a perfect example. How do you get Chuck Knobloch to move from second base to left field?
Well, he couldn't throw. He couldn't throw.
I understand.
He couldn't throw from second to first. It was.
I know, but still,
watch.
Still, no, I get that, but still, Steve
He was
Sax.
probably he couldn't sprint out the left field fast enough. Chuck Knobloch.
Well, he did. You know what? When he went out there, he started hitting a hell of a lot better too. So
It was all in his head at that point.
yeah.
All right, let's get to some comments here before we dissect this
It
baseball.
looks like David Rosnick kind of agrees with us.
Yeah, Rob Povey, I guess I agree with the poll, but it's less popular than football and basketball and slipping every day. Long Gone Summer touched on this, slipping a bit. Another great 30 for 30. That would be a good 30 for 30. The
right.
eyes of America's pastime.
I mean,
and for
what's the summer? What's the summer going to be like when we can't stick it to the Mets and stick it to the Red Sox? I mean, it's not just watching Yankee baseball. I'm sure for you, it's not just watching Philly baseball. It's sticking it to everybody else.
I watch anybody play baseball.
Me too. I had the
West
baseball
Coast games, the late night West Coast games, Sunday night baseball. I love Sunday night baseball.
Yep.
Crack a beer at 8:00. Watch the game of the week. I mean, it's not labeled the game of the week, but it's usually a pretty good matchup.
Yeah, and you know what? The announcers are always not just talking about the game, but they're always talking about the state of the game, and I kind of always enjoy the broadcasts.
Yeah, because they have Vasgersian, A-Rod, and Jessica Mendoza. I like that team.
Oh, Jessica's now an advisor with the Mets, so she's gone.
I thought she was keeping her. Well, it doesn't matter. I mean, I guess.
At this point, it doesn't make a difference. But
all right, Bryce Blackwell's in the house. He's talking about Bryce Harper tweeting the Eagles. I would love that Bryce Harper play middle linebacker for the Eagles because Howie Zero seems to be more interested in picking a million quarterbacks in the second round than getting a starting middle linebacker to stop Ezekiel Elliott and Saquon Barkley. I know Ezekiel Elliott has the coronavirus, but guess what, folks? He's going to be fine for the season. Everyone's going to be fine for
He'll be okay by then. He'll be okay by then.
What else do we got?
Guys his age recover pretty quickly.
Bryce Blackwell, he also thinks baseball is done. Yeah, I don't think there's going to be a season.
Me neither. I'm with you, Bryce. I mean, I don't think the owners really want to play, and I don't think the players are going to play if it's only 50 games.
What's the point of that? Let's get to the players. Well, let's crush the owners because the owners don't want to play more than 50 games because they just want to. It seems like they just want to break even on this season and get the hell out of Dodge. They don't want any type of loss for the good of the sport at all.
There's no long-term thinking on the owners. Everything is done with them on the fly. They're worried about right now. They're not worried about next year because they think that no matter what they do, the fans will come back.
Yeah, they think we're just going to be there with open arms, ready to welcome them back. But I don't.
You know what?
Thanks, Brad.
You know what? Let me tell you something. Montreal lost their baseball team because of the strike. Make no mistake.
I lost out on a World Series as well.
Yeah,
they were a good team that year.
In ‌94, I think the Yankees lost out on being in the World Series too. Yankees were running away with the East and had the best record in the American League. But I mean, Montreal doesn't have a baseball team because of the strike, and you know what? A lot of teams suffered real bad with their attendance because of that. And for them to think that everybody is just going to forget, there's a lot of baseball teams right now that are having attendance problems to begin with. Okay, and if they lose a season, they may not come back.
Like are the A's or the Rays or the Pirates? I mean, they're going to be shuffled out of their cities if they don't have a season. They're not going to get there with how bad they are.
Well, listen,
season
the Rays have a good team, but nobody goes to the games anyway.
Nobody cares about baseball in Tampa.
Nobody cares in Tampa Bay about it. Nobody goes to the Marlin games.
Well, rightfully so. I mean, they're hard.
But they didn't go
every year.
The team they didn't go. I mean, that's part of the problem. Baseball's not a good sport in Miami. Miami should have had a whatchamacallit, a retractable dome. I mean, that would have been a very good idea if they would have done that. But nobody wants to sit there and have rain delays every single freaking game, and wait and have to have a 4-hour game. It's too much. It's too long.
So the owners, and then the owners, to make sure that they get what they want, to not operate their business at a loss, are not negotiating in good faith. Some of the proposals that they've sent the players' way, they're completely ridiculous. I don't understand how you can expect someone to take all the risk for roughly 35% of a guaranteed contract. That's just ridiculous. To you're negotiating to get a no, just so you can throw your arms up and say, "Oh, we tried," and just take your ball and go.
The whole bottom line is, if the negotiators really were if the owners were negotiating in good faith, they wouldn't be doing it through the media. Okay,
How about they're not even sitting in the same room together?
when the NBA
Via email.
when the NBA negotiates, okay, the NBA the media doesn't hear anything about what goes on with them with their negotiations. They whatever they do, they shut up and they do it. Okay, that's the NBA, in my opinion, is the most well-run organization out of all of them, quite frankly. And
I think Adam Silver is probably the best commissioner.
Well, also the players like Adam Silver and they trust the owners.
Well, that's 95% of the battle.
Yeah, they in hockey they've gotten better, but they hate Gary Bettman. Baseball, they don't trust the owners, and rightfully so, the way they're negotiating. And obviously, football, the owners and players hate each other, but they tolerate each other.
Right.
Yeah. But I mean, it's gotten to a point with baseball. I mean, we've lost seasons with baseball. The 81 season was marred because they ended up having 2 half seasons because of this stupidity. 94, you didn't have a world championship because of this stupidity. Then in 1995, you missed a third of the season because of this bullshit. So I mean, it's not going to end if they don't get this resolved now. It's not just going to end this year. It's going to go into next year too, because the players are going to go in next year and they're going to be pissed as hell, and they'll end up not coming in.
Future labor negotiations are going to.
I mean, they're
big time.
The owners are not getting this. What all they're saying is, well, you know what? We refuse to lose any money. We got a guaranteed contract for the season, and then they got a guaranteed contract for the playoffs. So I think they have $1 billion for the season and $1 billion for the
right.
For the playoffs.
Well, what are they doing? First of all, with the owners, why are you negotiating $1 billion playoff contract? I believe it was with a joint contract with Turner Sports and ESPN. Why are you negotiating $1 billion contract before you even have a plan to even play postseason baseball?
And you don't even know if there's going to be fans in the building. So how come it's okay to get $1 billion there, but it's not okay? You're worried about that, but
that's not covering you. That's not covering you. That $1 billion TV contract for one season of playoff baseball.
Well, if you look at it,
doing anything to tip the scales and losing your gate when the Yankees come to town. If you're the Tampa Bay Rays, are you kidding?
If you divide $1 billion into 30 teams, you're talking $33 million a team. But it's $2 billion because they're getting $1 billion for the season. Okay, from ESPN and from
and the other billions for the playoffs from Turner.
Right. So they're getting $2 billion. So these teams are getting, and this is without the local revenue. They're already getting $66 million a piece. Okay, to run their baseball teams. Don't forget, and I told you about. If you remember, we talked about the Yes Network and how much money the Yes Network pays the Yankees. Okay, Comcast. Obviously, the Comcast network pays for the Phillies. Fox Sports pays for all the other, Fox Sports South and everywhere else is like Fox.
Yeah.
Fox is paying all these other teams. Now I don't know, obviously, what they're making, but I'm guaranteeing you, okay, that each one of these teams, just on the TV contracts alone, is getting $100 million. So easily, and teams like the Yankees and the Red Sox and the Phillies and the Dodgers, the big market teams who have the big payrolls, they're getting huge contracts from the Yes Network or Fox Sports West or Nesson for Boston or Comcast for Philly. they're getting Turner Sports Broadcasting for the Braves. I mean, they're getting money, and WGN in Chicago. They're getting money hand over foot. So these big market teams, they're easily, if they have a $200 million, $250 million payroll, they're easily making that payroll without a problem. These small market teams are probably getting close to $100 million in revenue just on TV. So what kind of bullshit are they feeding us to try to make, like, oh, we're going to lose $1 billion, we're going to lose $4 billion if we have a 109 game season? No, you're not.
How does that work? I don't understand. Where does that number come from? Where's the math? Like, where?
Well, the fact that they
players ask them to open their books and they get all offended. Well, like, we're trying to negotiate a deal here. Show us where you're losing $4 billion with a 109 game season, and then we can advance the negotiations. But then the owners throw their arms out. We shouldn't have to open their books up.
Well, here, see, that's the difference between the NBA, the NHL, and
well, the NBA is different because they actually market their stars.
Well, the other thing is, but they
hasn't done maybe since Ken.
Everybody has an open book. They know how much money they have. They all share the revenue. They know how much money they have, and they have a salary cap. So everybody knows how much, and they're able to increase or decrease the salary cap based on their revenues because they all share revenue and they all know exactly what, because they're being honest. Same thing with hockey. Okay, they're all in it together, and they all open their books.
I understand that, but basketball markets in their individual stars probably better than any other sport.
They always have. The
average person, are they more likely to buy a basketball jersey or a football jersey or a baseball jersey? Excuse me.
A basketball jersey.
Okay, let's look at James Harden for the Rockets. Great player. He's got his signature beard. He's got his own shoe deal. He's a max player. He makes $40 million a year just for playing baseball. He's got marketing. I think Taco Bell has him. He's got his beard, markets his beard. He has his jersey. He has his shoes. Like, I'm sure Mike Trout,
he makes more money off the floor than he does on the floor.
I'm sure Mike Trout, but like, how many people outside of Anaheim are buying a Mike Trout, like, not a shirt, not a T-shirt jersey like you and me wear to the show sometimes for Bryce Harper and the Judge and whoever else you have, but an actual jersey, replica jersey of what they wear on the field? How many people outside of Rosca and people in Anaheim have a Mike Trout jersey?
You know what? You never see them.
Okay, now how many people outside of Houston have a James Harden jersey or have James Harden sneakers because they like the way he plays basketball?
A lot of people. I hate to say it. Listen, in football, Rob, how many people do you see wearing Pat Mahomes jerseys? I see Pat Mahomes jerseys everywhere now.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, all the top football players, you see the jerseys all over the place, and it doesn't matter. And it doesn't matter if what team it is. You know, yeah, you have a lot of Eagle fans who wear what they want to wear, but who wear mostly Eagle stuff. But a lot of people, like, you'll see Randy Moss jerseys still. You know, I mean, you'll see that stuff. You'll see a lot of LaDainian Tomlinson jerseys around. You know,
I'm not the biggest jersey guy now because every time I buy a jersey, the player gets traded away or leaves in free agency, and it's frustrating. Then you got an obsolete jersey. But when I was like middle school, between the ages of like 13 to 17, jerseys are my favorite guys, whether they played in Philadelphia or not. They were my jam. I wanted everybody's jersey that I thought was cool. I
had an Earl Campbell
fantasy, like whoever.
I had an Earl Campbell jersey. I had an Earl Campbell jersey when he was on the Houston Oilers when I was a kid.
Who's that?
Earl Campbell. He was a running back.
Earl Campbell.
Yeah. Who else did I have? Who was it I had on the North Stars? Bill Goldsworthy. I had a jersey of Bill Goldsworthy because I like the green jersey with the N with a little star above him.
Yeah.
Goldsworthy was cool. Back then. Yeah.
Baseball's not cool.
No, it's not.
It doesn't market their stars. Baseball doesn't market Mike Trout. Baseball doesn't market Bryce Harper, Aaron Judge, whoever else. Baseball really hasn't utilized individual marketing since the sweetest swing in baseball, Ken Griffey Jr., back in the late 90s.
Right, because they don't. Because
I could see that it was universally loved by the baseball world that it was cool to have a Ken Griffey Jr. jersey. It was cool to have a Seattle Mariners baseball cap.
yeah, and wear it backwards.
It's
That's what
simply
Griffey
not
did.
the case anymore. And I
Nope.
don't know where to place that blame, whether it's the players, the commissioners, or the owners, but how come I see the owners getting $1 billion TV deal, but the individual stars of baseball don't have individual marketing plans?
Well, I mean, Aaron Judge has a few things on the fire, but nothing nearly like nothing.
Yeah, but
nearly,
if Aaron Judge is what 6'6",
yeah,
6 whatever, however much he weighed, 260.
he's gigantic. Yeah,
Like, what if Aaron Judge was a WWF star or an MMA guy? He'd be one of the most marketed guys in the whole company.
oh God, yeah. What if he was a basketball player?
Do you think the average person knows who Aaron Judge is?
I don't know about that. I don't think so.
I mean, I think everyone kind of knows that Mike Trout is pretty.
People who don't watch baseball know
one of the greatest players of all time. I think the casual fan understands that. I think the casual fan knows who Bryce Harper is because he got that big contract in the offseason. But I can't tell you with how young Bryce Harper or Aaron Judge is and him being a little bit dinged up last year, I can't confidently say that the average person, not sports fan, average person knows who Aaron Judge is. And
I agree with you.
That's a huge problem for baseball. You got to market your stars. People want to see stars. People want to see talent. People want to see the best of the best. You got to market your stars. Baseball's failed time and time and time again.
I mean, Mookie Betts is another one.
Their lesson.
When outside of Boston, do you ever see anybody wearing Mookie Betts jerseys?
But I put that on the owners, don't you?
Yeah, and now he's with Los Angeles.
$1 billion contract, but they don't want to market. I don't know who's the best player on the Red Sox. Andrew Benintendi, Rafael Devers, Bogarts. You know,
what's his name?
JD Martinez.
JD Martinez. Yeah.
Average people don't know who those players are, and they're baseball players. And Xander Bogaerts might be the best shortstop in all of baseball.
And you know what? If you're not a baseball fan, he's not somebody you know.
It's sad. It's pathetic, and I never understood it. And the marketing of their offseason is a pathetic joke as well. Look at the NFL, Brad, and we're crushing the owners right now. We're going to get to the players, and we're going to get to the commissioner in a few minutes. But look at the marketing of the NFL offseason. There's something.
They do a great job
of the year. You have free agency into the draft, into OTAs, into preseason, into the season.
And you know what? And they are constantly. And
it's like the clock. It goes around 300 days a year.
No matter where you go on social media, there's always a sale for football jerseys. Okay? There's always a sale for basketball jerseys. There's always a sale for hockey jerseys. You can always Fanatics has all that stuff.
Yeah.
When do you ever see stuff for baseball jerseys? Never.
No. But my point is the logistics of you have the World Series. Like, first off, they had their draft the other night. Like, why is the draft in the middle of the season? Why isn't the draft right after the World Series?
I don't know.
Never understood that at all.
Well, why? Because
you have college players getting drafted in the middle of the College World Series. What sense does that make? It makes no sense from a marketing standpoint to do it like that. None.
No, you're right about that.
And this marketing, the failure to market their offseason falls directly on the shoulders of Rob Manfred, who's done a piss-poor job managing his sport during the pandemic. He's sitting outside having a margarita and a barbecue while his $50 million mansion is burning to the ground.
Yeah, he's an idiot. I mean, he is without question one of the most clueless commissioners that baseball has ever had. I think maybe he is the most clueless one. He's terrible.
No, you've been around longer than me, but I thought Bud Selig was okay.
Bud Selig was okay. He was okay. He wasn't He wasn't terrible. Faye Vincent was very good.
I thought I thought the extra wild card team was a good thing. I thought,
Yeah, and it's worked. You know what? And it's worked. And it's worked. That's the whole thing. It keeps people watching baseball at the beginning of the football season because you got more cities alive. I mean, the problem with baseball is that sometimes these first place teams were so good they'd be ahead by 10, 15 games.
and there's no intrigue.
Or August, and and that's it. You know, there's nothing to hold somebody else's interest. But when you have wild cards, then especially when you have two wild cards, then you're adding 7 to 8 more cities in each league to the you're holding them and keeping their interest, and that's something that
It seems, now I don't have any research or data to support this, but it seems since the second wild card was instituted, about half the teams in each league are alive at least until September 1st.
yeah, and it makes it a lot harder. Yeah, and it also makes it a lot harder to make deals at the trade deadline because the trade deadline's always been July 31st.
Right, because teams aren't dumped. They want to wait. They want to wait as long.
Yeah, they're not sure. Yeah, they're not sure, and it's a lot of these teams. It's very hard for them to give up a season.
If you're 5 games back of the second wild card on July 31st, the trade deadline, I'm holding. I'm going to try and make a run, or I'm trying to add to go.
Exactly.
You're not out of it by any means.
Well, what they should do, first of all, what they should be doing is they should have the trade deadline should be August 15th, and the waiver deadline should be till August 31st.
Yeah, something.
I mean, it should be something like that. July 31st is too. If you look at the NBA and the NHL, okay, their trade deadlines are within 6 weeks before the end of the season, something like that. Usually
that. I was reading a comment.
Oh, okay.
Go repeat your thought. I'm sorry.
The NBA and the NHL have their trade deadlines towards the middle to end of February.
I feel like the NHL trade deadline is late.
Yeah, it is, and that's what it should be.
Yeah,
that's what it should be because you know what? When you get to that point, teams know if they're good enough to get into the playoffs or not. They know if they're good enough to win a championship or if it's time to move on and start building for next year. Baseball, they make it too early, and nobody wants to commit. So that's another stupid thing that Faye Vincent hasn't done. I mean, and then this ridiculous rule that the relief pitchers have to face 3 batters.
Oh, don't even get me started on the
because these
don't even get me started on the pace of play.
These stupid ass fans don't like the pitching changes. I mean, that's the beauty of baseball. It's the strategy. I mean,
all right, we got a couple comments coming here. Tom Arnone's in the house. Obviously, great base. Coaches youth baseball. Kids are going to stop playing baseball. Tommy's not going to have – if they don't play a season, Tommy's going to have less of a pool of kids trying out for his combat AAU teams to pick from. Kids are going to lose interest. They're going to want to go be MMA fighters or NASCAR drivers or golfers or sports that actually have a decent head on their shoulders that are playing right now during this pandemic.
Rob, even MLS has a plan to start their season. I mean, the soccer teams, they even have a plan to start their season.
Yeah, Tom says baseball should be discussing with themselves. That's kind of been our narrative the whole night.
Yeah, I mean, it's just they're a disgrace. I mean, they're an embarrassing group of people, and it's not like this is the first time they've done this bullshit. You know, this is something that they've been doing that's happened over and over and over again. And you know, I remember the first time it happened was in '72 when they did this crap, and I think they lost like 2 weeks of the season. It's either 71 or 72. I can't remember which year it was, but they did that back then too. You know, and it's got to stop. I mean, baseball is the only sport that it just keeps happening over and over and over again. Yeah, football they've had their issues, but they always end up they don't miss their seasons like that. They missed one. I think one time.
Close with football a few years ago. I think I was in college.
Yeah, but they played.
They did. They got their shit together at the 11th hour, and they got it done. And then another comment here by Damian Estrada. Don't y'all think that MLB is just doing this to have these players, not to have these players at risk because of all this crazy going on in the country with all the riots and looting going on?
No.
No, I don't think that. I mean, that's obviously like bad, the looting and the racial tensions.
Listen, Baltimore, the Orioles when they had that thing with Freddie, what the hell?
Freddie Gray, yes.
Freddie Gray. Okay, the Orioles still played. Okay, now it was so bad that they ended up having that one game with no fans, if you remember.
I do. Now that you mention it, yes.
They had no fans, but they still played the game. So as far as that goes, I mean, if you go to any baseball game, if you went last year or the year before that, especially coming out of the games, if you don't notice or going in, there are cops there with the AK-47s out there. They're just waiting for somebody to act like a jackass. So I mean, nothing's going to happen. Games are probably the safest place to go, to be quite honest with you, because
I mean, when they're not going to be able to, fans aren't going to be able to be at the stadiums for a while.
Well, it's not going to happen. Yeah, they're not going to be going to games this year.
And Bob Brinkman says you guys are on the money. This is so much money from TV revenues, ticket revenue with small potatoes. And
that's the whole point.
Kids are going to lose interest. I want to get back to the marketing of the sport because that falls directly on the commissioner. Maybe a little bit.
Absolutely does.
But the marketing of the offseason, Brad, why can't you have, let's start the league year at spring training, just for the sake of the argument. You have spring training in what late February that they go down for pitching catchers?
Yes.
It's the start of the league year. So you have spring training. Everyone gets excited. Everyone has their fantasy baseball drafts. Everyone buys their tickets, buys their hats, buys their jersey. They're raring to go for the season. Then you have a regular season that has so much intrigue because of the second wild card that your team has to literally almost try to have a bad season not to be in wild card contention.
At least through the All-Star break.
Till the All-Star break.
Right. At least through the All-Star game. If you can't stay within like 10 games of the second wild card, that's pathetic.
Be by the All-Star game.
Right.
Roll right into the All-Star game. For my money, baseball, the single best All-Star game out there.
Absolutely.
It's the most real All-Star game in the sense that the competition isn't different than a regular season game. Now I know games with the substitutions.
The pitchers are pitching to you the same way.
Pitchers are pitching, the hitters are hitting. You're trying to make plays, you're trying to score runs, you're trying to win the game.
Yeah, nobody wants to get embarrassed.
But like the NBA All-Star game, for example, they don't play till the last 6 minutes. They just play hard.
They don't play defense
for 75% of the game. Then they turn it on at the end, which is very entertaining. But could you imagine if we had 48 minutes of that?
Yeah,
basketball, it'll never happen. But
hockey, they play no defense.
I know defense, and the Pro Bowl's been a joke for forever.
The Pro Bowl has been ridiculous. I mean, you're not even allowed to blitz in the Pro Bowl. So I mean, what kind of football game is that? So
it's not. It's not football. It's flag football.
Right.
It's fake news football, is what it is.
Exactly.
You have your All-Star game. Then you have your pennant races, where it's just a mad sprint to the finish. You get your trade deadline mixed in there. Everyone's trying to be one of those 10 teams. Then you have your postseason. Then you have your World Series, a champion's crown. Then you should have your draft. Then you should
have the draft. They should have the draft in the beginning of November, and then right after the draft, then they have free agency, or vice versa, whatever they want to do.
Yeah. Then you have your winter. Then you have your winter meetings in December.
Right.
You kind of figure out the logistics of your team, a couple free agents, maybe a couple trades late in the month of January. Then you're restarting the whole thing back in spring training in late February.
There's no plan.
A full year circle.
There's no plan.
The NFL.
There's no plan because you know what especially when you look at the owners when they get the money for signing guys like from the Dominican, that extra money. They get what $6-7 million a year that they can use to sign free.
The international player pool, yes.
Right, the international player pool. Thank you. You could sign somebody anytime. You could sign somebody right now. You could sign somebody in June, July.
And I get that.
Yeah, but that doesn't make any sense.
Wrong. That's wrong.
Yeah.
it gets lost in the shovel of the actual competition when you sign. What's the guy that the Yankees signed? That's
Dominguez.
Dominguez, the stud. Why not have International Signing Day at the winter meetings, where you have a week to talk to these guys and you sign them, and it creates a buzz.
And you market them.
Holy shit, the Phillies just got this Dominguez guy. We're watching highlight packages of him. He looks like the real deal. Like, we're excited about him. But
yeah, exactly.
In June, well, gee, I didn't even know they signed him because the Phillies are in a pennant race with the Mets, and DeGrom's facing Nola tonight. I care about that, not about an international signing that's not going to help me for 5 years.
Right, and and it's not like anybody's giving you highlights or anything. You're not seeing pictures of the guy playing. It's like
Chrome's in the house. Good riddance, MLB. Always my favorite sport. Easily bumped down to number 4 for me. Let them sit home. So Chrome sounds like he's just kind of.
He's had it too.
Apathetic, doesn't care.
They have a 50-game skit. I'll tell you what. They have a 50-game season. I'm not going to even be paying attention. I just screw them for 50 games.
If they have a 50-game season and they have a 16-team playoff that they're potentially talking about, and the Phillies aren't in a 16-team playoff, they can't even make that, then that's a problem. So in that sense, I agree.
That just is so different.
Like,
and so
baseball from a marketing standpoint, full circle marketing plan. Full circle, 365 days a year, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, just like the NFL. I know MLB is not as popular as the NFL. There's no reason they can't copy the marketing plan.
Baseball doesn't want to do that because the owners, if they start marketing the players, then they're going to end up having to pay them more money.
I don't understand how baseball players can make any more money than they already do.
Well, if they're marketed properly, they might be able to because they get.
You think that's why they don't do it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Jeez.
You can't tell me with a straight face. You can't tell me they don't do this on purpose. I mean, why on earth is
I mean, this yeah.
Why aren't there pictures of Mike Trout everywhere, especially in New Jersey? The guy is from Millville, for crying out loud. You know, I mean, you never even see that. And he goes to Eagle games all the time. Do you ever see him marketed around here, or marketed on TV? Do you ever see him in commercials? No, you never see him.
No, I see him. The most I see him on TV outside of baseball is when he's sitting in the front row watching the Eagles in the off season.
Yeah, you don't ever see these guys. The problem is you never see these guys doing sports commercials ever. And that to me is a problem. I mean, when the Yankees,
but maybe the owners wouldn't have, but maybe if the owners let the player, if you don't want to do it, let the players go out and get it.
Like, I mean, the most I ever saw was Robinson Cano, a picture of Robinson Cano on a New York City bus. That's about as far as I've ever seen anything.
Don't the owners get, if the players get more marketing revenue from, say, I don't know, Adidas or something, that, you know, they're not relying as much on baseball money?
They should be doing that, but they don't. That's the problem. Plus, they have 81.
It's just so easy to just get a free-flowing 12-month marketing plan, market your stars, and that fixes so many of baseball's problem.
It's an 81 game. They have 81 home games. They don't have any double. They try not to do double headers anymore. They don't have any scheduled double headers anymore. So they have 81 chances to make money, you know, and they somehow find a way to not take full advantage of everything. I mean, football, the NFL, they get every dime.
Every dime.
They're
detriment at times.
Yep. The NBA, same thing. They're all in it together. They have zillions of commercials for their star players. I mean, you know, it's ad nauseum. I mean, you still see Shaquille O'Neal pushing the General.
Yeah.
I mean,
I was watching last night. I was watching Game 1 of the 2001 NBA Finals. It was on Comcast Sportsnet. it was obviously Shaq's late
Right.
against Allen Iverson, and Shaq was just too much, man.
He was unstoppable. He was.
I mean, Dikembe Mutombo was a good center.
And he was a real good defensive player, and he was as dirty as
and
they.
Shaq was just tossing him around, and then
like a rag doll.
Right before halftime, he had 2 fouls, and they had to put Matt Geiger in to try and cover Shaq in his prime. Boy, did that didn't
nobody could cover him because he would just he was so strong. He was so strong. Nobody could physically play. I mean, even Olajuwon couldn't stop him. Now, listen, Shaq, if he was more than 10 feet from the basket, had no jump shot. He had no game outside the outside the paint. But I mean, trying to stop him from getting into the paint into the basket was nearly impossible. Plus, he could jump when he was young. He could jump too. I mean, if you threw the ball 10 feet in the air, he was jumping up to catch the ball and slamming it home.
All right, we do have breaking news here. We do have a little bit of breaking news here in front of the Eagles. Derek Gunn of Comcast Sportsnet is reporting that All-Pro Philadelphia Eagles guard Brandon Brooks has retore his Achilles tendon and will be out all of next season.
What?
That's a puzzling news story.
How?
Into it and maybe talk about it next week, but that is a monster loss for the Eagles offensive line.
How did he end up doing that? They're not even practicing right now.
Well, I'll help you out on this one, Brad. Well, they do have the facility open over at the NovaCare complex. So since he is recovering from an injury, he's allowed to work out at the facility. And from what I've heard from the story was that he was running on the practice field and he tore it.
He was just running on the practice field?
He was running. He was doing his
usual. Pick a fucking quarterback at goddamn pick 53 in case something like this happens.
But hey, we drafted Jack Driscoll in the 4th round.
Yeah, but
you don't want to have him be
a higher caliber guy at pick 53.
Yeah. I hear you.
He's going to be your 3rd string quarterback because this is what happens. People get fucking hurt in the NFL. I hate passion. I hate his guts. I hate your guts, Howie Roseman. You're a fucking loser. You're a 0. Howie Roseman, you're a loser. And I hate you. Calling you out. The Eagles don't make the playoffs this season. It's 1,000% on Howie Roseman. 1,000%. And he should be taken out back and shot. He's a loser. I'm sick of this guy. He ruins the whole season at the draft. Ruins the whole season at the draft.
You know what you're going to have to do now, right? You're going to end up giving up a very high pick for an offensive lineman.
Oh, maybe they can trade one of their QBs for an offensive guard that can play an all-pro caliber level. What a loser. Howie Roseman, this is all his fault. This is all Howie Roseman's fault. I hate his guts. I hate his guts. He's a nerd. He's an accountant. There's no way he should be in charge of a player personnel department. No way. And this is why. Because things happen that are unpredictable. And you want to plan by taking Jalen Hurts at pick 53 for 8 years down the line because you want to have a little fucking QB factory. This is what happens. Your 2020 product suffers immensely. Ridiculous.
Well, especially a guy like Wentz who's been injury prone. Now you're going to put somebody else in there who's definitely not as good. And he has a problem staying on the field. This is not going to make it any better. That's for sure.
I hate Howie Roseman. I hate him so much. I hate him so much, Brad. I hate him so much. He's just a smug, little, arrogant nerd that I just wanted to just stuff in a trash can and close the lid so I never have to look at his ugly face ever again.
Well, listen, there's always a chance that they could pick up somebody, in a trade, but they're gonna end up.
Good thing Howie Roseman is a nerd and has to count his beans and have $8 million and $85 million in cap space before every season. Go use it because now you got an all-pro left guard to replace Howie.
But you can't replace it all pro.
Great job picking Jalen Hurts in the second round.
You can't replace it. You can't replace
What
it.
a joke. What a joke. What a joke Howie Roseman is. And then he's going to say, well, we can't predict injuries, and injuries happen to everybody. And that smug little nerd voice that he has. Has to be the smartest guy in the room.
Right.
And he ruined our season. He ruined our season picking Jalen Hurts.
But you have to have some kind of depth and some kind of a plan in case. I mean, this is a guy that's coming back from a very serious injury. There should have been some kind of plan just in case he wasn't able to start the season. Well, I don't know. I mean, that's a tough break for them.
Yeah, that's why they put a second-round tender on Nate Sudfeld, a quarterback who's never played a lick in this league. You put a realistic tender on him. Maybe you sign somewhere and you get a pick back for him. No one's going to give up a second-round pick for Nate Sudfeld. So you lock into the backup position, and you still take Jalen Hurts in the second round. Now you're out an all-pro guard. So God forbid Jalen Hurts has to play if there's injuries at quarterback. Now you're missing an all-pro guard to protect a rookie quarterback.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Ridiculous.
And you don't have Big V anymore to put in.
Baseball's sure happy. Baseball's sure happy that just happened because I just got to crush Howie Roseman for being the nerd loser that he is instead of crushing the players, the MLB players, like we were going to do for the last.
Well, we can crush them right now too because you know what? They still have
I'm so irritated. I'm so irritated with Howie Roseman. Just all that anger from the draft of Jalen Hurts being picked at pick 53 just totally resurfaced because it's malpractice, to use a legal term. It's malpractice, and it should be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. He should be stuffed in a locker and stuffed in a trash can. It'd be a nice reminder of high school for him, I bet. Idiot.
Well,
all right, let's crush the players real quick because they're not without culpability.
Listen, honestly though, with regard to that situation with the Eagles, you still have the offseason to go out and try to and maybe trade a pick and go get yourself a decent offensive lineman if you don't have somebody who can replace him. I mean, you're not going to get it all pro. That's not going to happen. But you can get a decent offensive lineman. If you offer a third or second round pick, you can find somebody good that you can get.
Howie Roseman, he needs his second round picks. He's got to get his quarterback factory. He's got to get his QB factory. What picks are you going to use to get the QBs in here then? If you don't,
I mean, maybe next year he'll draft a backup punter with the second pick, with the second round pick.
Yeah, then we have a punter factory. All right, let's crush the players in our last few minutes here.
Well, look,
I believe that they deserve the least amount of blame out of the Manfred owners, players, triumvirate of stupidity going on in Major League Baseball.
But you know what? They still the fact that they now won't even negotiate is ridiculous too. Because you know what, this love of the game stuff is such nonsense. If I hear one more player trying to say something about love of the game, I swear I'm going to blow my top. It's enough already. You guys don't give a rat's ass about this sport. You give a rat's ass about your pocketbook, and that's fine. Okay, but let's call it as it is.
Well, I can deal with them being dug in on their salaries because they're taking all the risks. They got to be isolated from their families. They got to be, quarantined in who knows what hub city. I can't imagine traveling like a regular season.
That means you don't play at all.
Yeah, but I mean, they got to make some concessions on their salary, don't they?
I mean, they're getting unemployment right now. They're not getting paid. Listen,
yeah, $5,000 a week they're getting.
Yeah, but that's only
I would do with $5,000 a week. I'd be set for life.
Yeah, I know that. I'm
not a fancy person. Like
so would a lot of people. But you know what? At this point, they think that they're underpaid. They're feeling like
well, for them to play for 35% of their salary over
the owners, every offer the owners make, all they're doing is sugarcoating the fact that they're going to give them 35% of their salary. It's always they just do it in different formats. The players are unwilling to move from the agreement they had in spring training. they have to understand that the owners still are going to lose some money because they are not getting a revenue stream from the fans, from the tickets, or the parking or the concession or anything else. They are going to lose some money. I mean, we can't ignore that.
But Brad, if I'm sitting here for the first 45 minutes of the show crushing the owners for not wanting to lose money, don't I also have to crush the players for expecting not to lose any money?
Well, the players are being clueless too, because you know what? It's that what the players want their
They don't want to give. They don't want to give and look weak for future negotiations.
They don't want to. They do not. The players do not want to negotiate at all, and the owners are making them try to look stupid by offering them the same package in all different kinds of forms. The bottom line is, every package they offer, the players keep getting 35% of their salary. They have to meet somewhere. They have to meet somewhere in the middle, and if the players aren't willing to meet somewhere in the middle, the owners are not going to pay them what they want.
Right, the players are just kind of dug in, like, these are demands. If you want to meet them, great. We'll suit up, we'll play, we'll show up. But if not, we're sitting at home, and that's no way to negotiate either.
Well, that's the whole thing. That's the problem with. That's what I have a problem with the players about.
The problem, what the owners aren't recognizing, is that they don't have nothing without the premier talent of the players.
Right, and
everyone's showing up to the game because the Steinbrenners own the Yankees. People are showing up to the game because they want to see Aaron Judge hit a 500-foot home run.
Exactly.
Yankees beat the shit out of the Boston Red Sox.
We got a question from Trevor from the 203. Is Manfred worse than Bettman? Bettman right now is Adam Silver compared to
Bettman's looking good. I mean, they were the first. They had a plan before basketball.
Yeah, Bettman actually did a pretty good job getting hockey to be organized.
So a lot of details to work out with this hockey thing. They kind of
but they're playing right now. They're in camp and they're doing what they have to do. Some guys are in quarantine.
Yeah, I mean, they don't know where the games are going to get played. They have no.
But they will. But they will though. You know they will. I mean,
they will. Like, let's go.
Yeah, they're basically what they did is they told the players, okay, get your butts back here. We're going to play the playoffs. Get yourselves in shape. We're going to figure it out logistically. Don't worry about it. We got your backs. There is nothing like that going on right now in baseball. Right now, it's the completely contentious relationship that the owners and players have always had, and you would think in the history of the negotiations between the owners and players in baseball that they would have learned their lesson. And we're talking about the owners, but they never learned their lesson. The players are a macho group of guys that don't want to negotiate, and it's either they want to do the my way or a highway thing. I don't think we're going to have a season. I don't think there's going to be anything.
No, I've given up on a season, and I'm in your boat. If there's a season, wake me up for the playoffs. And if I'm
going to watch
around my Eagles and my football and my job and all the other things I want to put my time.
I'm not watching. I'm not going to worry about it.
Watch.
I'm not worried about watching a 50-game season. The hell with them. They're not going to be playing till the end. They're not going to be playing till near the end of July. You know what? My hockey playoffs are going to be on. I can't wait to see that. So the hell with them. And then when August starts, football starts. Who the hell cares about baseball's regular season? It's a watered down season with only 50 games. That doesn't prove shit.
Yeah.
I mean, if the Orioles go 30-20, they're going to be in the playoffs, and in a 162-game season, they wouldn't win more than 60 games. If they won 60 games, it'd be a miracle. You know, I mean, teams that have no business competing are going to have a chance to be in the playoffs, and that's stupid. What kind of baseball?
It's ridiculous. Well,
come on.
Hopefully, in the coming week, Brad, the skies will open up. People who aren't intelligent will become intelligent, and we can maybe figure something out in terms of baseball. It doesn't look.
They need. You know what? The bottom line is baseball needs a drop dead date. And if somebody would just come out, if the players or owners,
you mean like the commissioner being a leader?
He needs to set a drop dead date that between the owners and players. If you guys don't get this thing done by June 25th, the season's over. That's what he needs to do. He needs to be a real man and stop being such a spineless little wimp, and put both of them in their places, and just say, you got until then to negotiate. If you don't get this thing negotiated by then, that's it. Because these guys are there's no desperation on the side of either one of them.
No.
There just seems to be no urgency, no desperation. Nobody seems to care. Okay, you guys don't care about
and now the fans don't care, which is the true tragedy.
Yeah, we'll be watching Major League Soccer, because if there's nothing else on, I'll watch that. I'll be watching soccer for a while to amuse myself, and then when the hockey playoffs start, I'll be watching that, and that'll be the end of it. And the hell with baseball. Wake me up in October when your playoffs start, because I don't really care. I can't go to any games. I'm not going to be able to go to any games because of the virus. So what's the difference?
All right, we're going to take the week. We're going to regroup. We're going to book some guests. We're going to have a jam-packed show for you next Monday. But until then, this abbreviated version of the Sports Hounds crushing Major League Baseball, and also bringing you the tragic news that Brandon Brooks will miss the 2020 regular season after tearing his ACL, has come to an end. For everyone that listened, shared, liked, commented, we thank you. We'll see you next Monday, everybody.
Good night, guys.